Welcome to Sam the Car Guy. Today we're going to talk about SUVs. Behind me you have the 2023 Mazda CX-50. Now, let's say you're in the look for a small crossover SUV, but you don't want to spend the $45,000 to $50,000 that it requires to buy one of these new SUVs. Are there nice examples for luxury or comfortable SUVs that might be a little bit older and in a price range that you consider to be good? Let's find out. So as we stated, new SUVs can be very expensive. So are there SUVs that are cheaper? Well, you might have an example such as the 2005 Porsche Cayenne or the 2007 Infiniti FX45. Are these SUVs that would be good for you? Let's start with the Porsche Cayenne. This is a 2005 955 Turbo. This vehicle, when brand new, had 450 horsepower out of a 4.5 liter V8. This one I just recently purchased myself. It has 183,000 miles on it. So let's determine if this is something that would be worth a daily driver over a brand new SUV. The 2005 Cayenne Turbo is a very nice luxury performance SUV. Now, something you have to be considering when you look at these vehicles is they cost a lot more to maintain than a vehicle such as a Toyota or a Honda. If you're willing to work on the vehicle yourself and you now have a little bit of mechanical expertise, or you're a little mechanic savvy, this could be a decent SUV to consider as your daily driver. For me personally, I would not use this vehicle as a daily driver, but instead as a fun weekend or capable SUV for enjoyment, which is why I bought this SUV. As for comfort, it is a very comfortable SUV and very much something that you should consider if you're looking for a nice luxury SUV under $15,000. You can usually find these, the Turbo and the Cayenne S, for under 10 if you look. Now, if you want a good one, which I don't recommend buying the cheapest one you can find because you will spend a fortune trying to fix it and maintain it, you will probably be looking somewhere between 10 and 15,000 for a good example. Interior space on the front is quite nice, and you have a lot of nice features. This particular Cayenne has an updated radio with Apple CarPlay, which really gives some nice modern feature to it. You do have heated seats and a lot of other nice luxury features you want out of a vehicle, such as parking sensors. This particular Cayenne also has the panoramic sunroof. That is something that I personally wanted in a Cayenne. However, if you don't want or need the panoramic sunroof, I highly recommend getting one without, as these can be very problematic with the 955 and 957 Cayenne generations. In the back of the Cayenne, you'll find it kind of surprising. It is a little small for the size of the SUV, but you still have a little bit of comfort back here. You're not up against the seats. You have a decent amount of room. It's fairly comfortable still, especially with the panoramic sunroof. And it's a place that I wouldn't mind spending a little bit of time in. Now, if you're looking for space and a family SUV, you might want something with a little bit more space in the back seat. For rear cargo space, a nice feature on the first generation Cayennes, the 955 and 957, is a window hatch that opens separate of the trunk. You have decent space in the back cargo area. However, you wouldn't be able to fit a standard small keyboard lengthwise, but it will go widthwise. To fit it lengthwise, you would have to put down the back seats. The Cayenne does have a little pass-through right here for skis. And you also have a little storage right here with utility in here, which has a CD changer, as well as some of your electronics for the trailer hitch and other items. One of the perks of the Cayenne is the towing capacity. If you get a Cayenne with a trailer hitch, you have a 7,700 pound towing capacity with this SUV. That is enough towing that you can carry a Mazda CX-50. In the back, again, you do have decent cargo space. This particular model has a manual lift rear hatch. Now, the Cayenne Turbo is not the most fuel-efficient vehicle on the market, especially the Turbo in the Cayenne S, because of the 4.5-liter V8 in the 955 and the 4.8-liter in the 957. This particular engine is a twin turbocharged V8. It does have several little quirks and problematic areas that you do need to consider if you're looking at one of these vehicles. There are several videos online about the different issues to keep in mind when you're looking at these vehicles. But your fuel economy in this particular car, you're going to expect to see something around 14 to 16 miles to the gallon. So if you're looking for fuel efficient, I would highly say you don't want to get the V8 in the Cayenne. Now, if you're looking for performance and fun, this is a fun and an excitable engine with the twin turbo system. 0 to 60, you're looking at the low 5-second range, which is always fun, especially for a 5,000 pound SUV. So now let's say a Mazda is too expensive for the initial upfront cost, and maybe a Cayenne is a little too much money that you want to spend up front for repair bills. Is there another option, such as the Infiniti? This is a 2007 FX45, which has the 4.5-liter V8. They also made the FX35, which had a 3.5-liter V6. Is this a better option if you want something fun, performance-y, but also practical? The Infiniti FX45 and 35 give you a lot of nice comfort for a lot cheaper price than the Porsche. Now, these are still older vehicles, so you still have some older quirks and features. Now, the nice thing about the Infiniti over the Porsche is they have an optional adaptive cruise control in these. Finding one of those is not going to be as easy because the cars are getting older, so you may just be determined on what vehicles you can find when you're looking for your car. The Infiniti, you can find the FX35 anywhere between $35,000 and $8,000, depending on mileage and condition. And the FX45, you can find one of these for between $4,500 and $12,000, depending on miles and condition. There has been a video on this vehicle on this channel that you can watch that is the full review of the FX45 if you are more interested in the Infiniti FX45. The back of the FX45 you will find is also tight. Older vehicles were a little bit smaller and a little bit more tight in the back seats. However, as you can see, the seat was designed to account for legroom. So behind this seat, which is pretty far back, I still am not touching up against the seats. Comfort is a little bit nicer back here because you do have, in the Infiniti, a set of reclining seats for both the rear. You do have a 60-40 split, just like in the Cayenne. However, this is a little feature that is a little bit nicer. Comfort in the back is nice. I wouldn't mind going on a road trip and being back here, as long as the person in the front seat gave me a little bit more legroom. One feature that is unfortunate is you do not have the glass hatch that opens like you do on the Cayenne. However, you still get a decent amount of space in the back. I would say it's very equivalent to the Cayenne. You do have decent space on your sides. As far lengthwise, you still wouldn't be able to fit a keyboard back here like you could with the Mazda CX-50, but you can fit it widthwise. This particular FX45 does have the privacy shade for the back, so you can hide any things that you have in the back. You can also put your seats down from back here as well with these little levers right here, which gives you more space, and then you would be able to fit a full-size keyboard into the back, lengthwise. The FX35 and 45 both have a 3,500-pound towing capacity, very similar to the turbocharged Mazda CX-50. Now, one thing I will note is that with the FX45, you do only get a 4-pin connector, so you won't be able to connect anything with trailer brakes. The back of the Mazda CX-50, you can actually fit a small keyboard lengthwise or widthwise in the back. You can also put the seats down for more space, which will allow you to fit a full-size keyboard lengthwise. You also get a lot more features in these newer vehicles than you do in the older cars, but is it worth the extra cost? The Mazda CX-50 does have a 3,500-pound towing capacity, and if you get the turbo model, which this one is, you do get the 7-pin connector, which will allow you to plug in a trailer with trailer brakes. And if you have a trailer brake Bluetooth connector, Kurt makes a great one, you will be able to use trailer brakes with this vehicle. The Mazda being a 2023 model means it does have a lot more features. This particular CX-50 has a panoramic sunroof, adaptive cruise control, LED headlights that turn with the wheel. You get automatic wipers. You have heated and cooled front seats, heated rear seats. You have more features than you can really shake a stick at. So the question is, should you spend the money up front on a brand new SUV, or should you spend the money over time on an older vehicle? That's really going to be up to you. If you are willing to put the money up front of about $50,000, you can get a nice small crossover. If you don't have the $50,000 to put up front for a vehicle or don't want the car loan, you can get an older vehicle, but do expect to spend a little bit more on maintenance and repairs. Mazda CX-50 maintenance is very comparable to something such as a Honda CR-V or a Toyota RAV4. So if you're looking for cheaper maintenance, this is a great vehicle to pick. You could also go with a vehicle such as the CR-V or the Toyota RAV4. You have luxury vehicles such as the BMW X3, the new Cayenne and Macan, which will be very expensive, the Volvo XC60, the Toyota RAV4, I think we mentioned that one. You also have the Corolla Cross, which is a little bit smaller than this. You have the Honda CR-V and HR-V, the HR-V being a little bit smaller. For Chevrolet, you do have the Blazer. GMC, you have the Terrain. Buick has, I believe it is the Encore. Dodge, they have the Dodge Dart, which is the same vehicle as the Alfa Romeo Tonale. So with all those small crossovers, you do have a great variety of new cars. But if you don't want to spend the money, you do have vehicles like the Cayenne and the FX45. There are other older vehicles such as the old BMW X3, the old BMW X5, the Audi Q5, the Lexus RX 330 and RX 350. But even with those other older luxury SUVs, you will still be paying a little bit more in maintenance. For a Porsche Cayenne, it is said that you should budget about $200 a month for repairs if you're DIY, and about $400 a month if you're going to the dealership or independent shop. Now that is a low point if you go to the dealership. Do expect, if you go dealership only, to spend roughly $1,000 a visit. With the FX45, you're looking at about $200 a month for repairs, especially as this vehicle is getting older and parts are getting harder and harder to find. One nice thing about the Cayenne is Porsche considers the 955 and 957 a classic, which means they do make OEM parts, though they may be expensive. The FX45, slowly parts are becoming more and more obsolete, which is making harder and harder to find, but you can still find a lot of parts in third-party support or in junkyard use of vehicles that have either died or have been wrecked. As for me, if I was just looking for a vehicle that was point A to point B transportation with nice luxury features, I personally would probably pick the Lexus RX 350. These two vehicles are very nice, but they can be expensive to maintain. So if you're not looking for something that's fun, sporty, but also practical, I would consider the Lexus RX 350. If you do want something fun and sporty, I do recommend the FX45 or the Porsche Cayenne. If you don't want to spend a fortune, you're definitely going to want to check out the FX45. If you're interested in something fun, sporty, and does everything, the Cayenne is a good option if you're willing to spend the money to maintain it. It can be expensive, but everyone that has driven one does say the cost is worth it. I hope this video has been very helpful in your search for your next vehicle. If you do have any questions about any three of the vehicles listed or pictured here, please feel free to ask any questions that you have. I will be glad to help. If you find my videos enjoyable, do feel free to hit that like button and subscribe for future content. If there's a certain video you would like to see on any of the vehicles, do let me know. Do note, this vehicle will be for sale within the next few weeks, as I now have the Cayenne. So if you see this one available, feel free to put a bid out on it, because I do plan on putting it on Cars and Bids, Doug DeMuro's auction website for car enthusiasts. Thank you for watching. This has been Sam the Car Guy.